When I stood in the back of that reception hall and watched my son cut his wedding cake without even glancing in my direction, I felt something inside me go quiet. Not broken, not shattered, just quiet, like a light switching off in a room I had lived in my whole life. The white tablecloth beneath their hands was pristine. Vanessa's laugh was crystal clear, carrying across the room full of guests. My son, my Thomas, looked at her like she hung the moon and stars. And I stood there, 20 feet away, with the memory of the check I had written just 6 weeks earlier burning in my pocket like a brand. $43,000. That was what I had given them. Not loaned, given. Because Thomas was my only child, and I wanted his day to be perfect. I wanted him to have everything I could not afford when I married his father 32 years ago, in a courthouse with 2 witnesses and a bouquet from the grocery store. But standing there, watching Vanessa's mother pose for photographs with the bride and groom, watching Vanessa's father give a toast that made everyone cry, watching person after person congratulate them while I smiled from the sidelines, I realized something had shifted, something I could not quite name yet. The DJ announced the mother-son dance. My heart lifted. Finally. This was the moment I had been waiting for all night. The moment when Thomas would walk across that dance floor, extend his hand to me, and we would share one of those memories mothers hold on to forever. But Thomas did not move toward me. Instead, he took Vanessa's mother's hand. I watched, frozen, confused, as he led Patricia onto the floor. As they swayed to a song I did not recognize, as everyone clapped and smiled and took photographs of my son dancing with someone else's mother, someone touched my elbow. My sister Linda, her face tight with sympathy. "Maggie," she whispered, "did you know about this?" I could not answer. My throat had closed. Later, when I asked Thomas about it, gently, carefully, because I did not want to seem petty on his wedding day, he kissed my cheek and said, "Mom, Vanessa thought it would be nice to honor Patricia since Dad's not here anymore. You understand, right? It's just a dance." Just a dance. I told him I understood. I smiled. I hugged him. I told Vanessa she looked beautiful, which she did. But driving home that night, my hands shaking on the steering wheel, I could not stop seeing it. My son holding another woman's mother, swaying to music that should have been ours. And the worst part, he had not even thought to warn me. That was 6 months ago. Now, I barely see him at all. My name is Margaret Rose Callahan, though everyone calls me Maggie. I am 57 years old. I worked as a hospital administrator for 33 years before retiring last spring. My husband, Richard, died 4 years ago from a sudden heart attack while mowing the lawn on a Sunday afternoon in June. One moment he was there, wiping sweat from his forehead and waving at our neighbor. The next, he was gone. Thomas was 28 when we lost Richard. He took it hard. We both did. But we leaned on each other. He called me every evening for months just to check in. We had dinner together twice a week. On Sundays, he would come over and we would watch old movies, the ones his father loved, and eat popcorn and talk about everything and nothing. I was not just his mother. I was his friend. Or so I thought. Thomas met Vanessa 2 years after Richard died. She was a pharmaceutical sales representative, sharp, polished, beautiful in that effortless way some women have. Blonde hair that always looked salon fresh, perfect teeth, a laugh that sounded like wind chimes. The first time he brought her to my house for dinner, She arrived with a bottle of wine and a bouquet of white roses. "Mrs. Callahan," she said, her smile warm and bright, "Thomas has told me so much about you. I have been dying to meet the woman who raised such an incredible man." I liked her immediately. She asked questions about my work, about Richard, about the photographs on my mantel. She complimented my pot roast. She helped me clear the dishes without being asked. When she left that night, she hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for welcoming me into your family. I thought I had been blessed. I thought my son had found someone wonderful. For the first year, everything was lovely." Vanessa joined us for Sunday dinners. She remembered my birthday. She sent me text messages with little updates about their life, pictures of a new apartment, a funny story from work, a recipe she wanted to try. When Thomas proposed, I cried. Happy tears. The kind that come from a mother's heart when she sees her child stepping into the future. "I want you to help plan the wedding, Mom," Thomas said, his arm around Vanessa. "You and Vanessa together. Make it perfect." And I tried. God knows I tried. The wedding planning started in October of 2022. Thomas and Vanessa wanted a June wedding. Classic, elegant, outdoor, if possible. We met for coffee at a little cafe downtown, the three of us, with a notebook and a folder full of magazine clippings Vanessa had collected. "I have always dreamed of something romantic," Vanessa said, spreading photos across the table. "Garden roses, candlelight, something that feels timeless, not trendy, just beautiful." I nodded, taking notes. "What about the venue? Do you have a place in mind?" "There is this estate about an hour north," Thomas said. "Riverside Gardens. We looked at it last weekend. It is perfect, Mom. You would love it." "How much?" I asked. They exchanged a glance. $12,000 for the ceremony and reception," Vanessa said carefully. "But that includes tables, chairs, basic setup." I did not flinch. "Okay, what else?" Over the next hour, we went through the list. Catering, photography, flowers, a band, invitations, Vanessa's dress, the cake, transportation, favors, hair and makeup, a videographer. "We can cover some of this ourselves," Thomas said. "We have been saving." "How much have you saved?" I interrupted gently. He hesitated. "About $8,000. I looked at the numbers I had written down. Even with cutting corners, this wedding would cost at least $40,000. Maybe more. "Let me help," I said. "Mom, we cannot ask you to—" "You are not asking. I am offering." I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "Thomas, you are my only child. Your father and I always planned to help with your wedding. That money has been sitting in an account for years, waiting for this. Let me do this, please." Vanessa's eyes glistened. "Mrs. Callahan, that is so generous. Are you sure?" "I am sure." She stood up and hugged me right there in the coffee shop. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." I felt good, useful, needed. Looking back now, I wonder if that was the moment everything changed. If the money was what tipped the scale. But at the time, it felt right. It felt like love. The months that followed were a blur of appointments and decisions. I took time off work to help. Vanessa and I visited florists together, tasted cakes, toured venues. We spent hours at bridal boutiques while she tried on dresses, twirling in front of mirrors, asking my opinion. "What do you think of this one, Maggie?" she would ask. She had started calling me Maggie instead of Mrs. Callahan. I liked it. It felt warm, familiar. It is beautiful, I would say. But is it the one? She bought the fifth dress we looked at, a silk gown with delicate lace sleeves and a cathedral train. It cost $3,800. I did not blink. I handed over my credit card and watched her face light up like a child's on Christmas morning. I love you, she said, hugging me in the boutique. I am so lucky to have you as my mother-in-law. Those words meant everything to me. Thomas was busy with work, so most of the planning fell to Vanessa and me. I did not mind. It gave us time to bond, to talk, to build the relationship I had always hoped to have with my daughter-in-law. We talked about everything: her childhood in Ohio, her parents' divorce when she was 12, her close relationship with her mother, Patricia, who had raised her and her two sisters mostly on her own. My mom sacrificed everything for us, Vanessa said one afternoon as we addressed invitations at my kitchen table. She worked 2 jobs so we could stay in a good school district. She never remarried because she said we were her priority. I do not know what I would do without her. I smiled. She sounds like a wonderful woman. She is. You will love her. I met Patricia a few weeks later at an engagement party Vanessa's family threw. She was 54, petite, with short auburn hair and sharp green eyes. She greeted me politely but coolly, like she was sizing me up. So you are Thomas's mother, she said, shaking my hand. Guilty, I said with a laugh. It is nice to finally meet you. Vanessa has told me you have been very generous with the wedding. There was something in her tone I could not quite place. Not gratitude, something else. I am happy to help, I said. She took a sip of her wine. Well, I am contributing what I can. I may not be able to match your budget, but I want my daughter to know I am here for her too. I felt a small sting, but brushed it off. Of course. I am sure Vanessa appreciates everything you do. Patricia smiled tightly and excused herself. Later, Thomas told me not to worry about it. Patricia is just protective, he said. You know how mothers are. I did know. But something about that interaction stayed with me, a seed of something I could not name. As the wedding drew closer, I noticed small changes, little things. Vanessa stopped responding to my text messages as quickly. When I suggested ideas for the reception, she would say, "Let me talk to my mom about it first." When I asked about the seating chart, she said, "Patricia is handling that." When I offered to host the bridal shower, Vanessa smiled and said, "Actually, my mom and my sisters already planned something. But thank you." I told myself it was normal. The bride's family always takes the lead on certain things. I should not be offended. But then came the rehearsal dinner. Traditionally, the groom's family hosts the rehearsal dinner. I had researched restaurants, planned a menu, prepared a small speech. I was excited. 2 weeks before the wedding, Thomas called me. "Mom, I need to talk to you about something." My stomach dropped at his tone. "What is wrong?" "Nothing is wrong. It is just..." Vanessa and Patricia thought it might be easier if Patricia hosted the rehearsal dinner. She knows this great Italian place near the venue, and she already made a reservation and... Thomas! My voice came out sharper than I intended. The groom's family hosts the rehearsal dinner. That is tradition. I know, but I have already started planning. Mom, please, it is not a big deal. Patricia just wants to feel included. You have done so much already. Let her have this. Let her have this, as if it were a toy we were fighting over. as if my role as Thomas's mother were something that could be divided up and redistributed based on who needed to feel important. I wanted to argue. I wanted to say, no, this is mine. This is my son. This is my moment. But I did not, because I did not want to be difficult. I did not want to be the overbearing mother-in-law. I did not want to ruin anything. So I said, okay, if that is what you want. Thank you, Mom. I knew you would understand. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen and cried for the first time since Richard died. The rehearsal dinner was held at a rustic Italian restaurant with exposed brick walls and candle-lit tables. Patricia had chosen the menu, arranged the seating, and prepared a toast. I sat near the end of the table, between Thomas's college roommate and a cousin I barely knew. Vanessa's entire family was there, her mother, her two sisters, their husbands, her grandmother, her aunts and uncles. They laughed and talked and told stories about Vanessa growing up. They toasted her. They toasted Thomas. No one toasted me. When it was time for speeches, Patricia stood up. She talked about raising Vanessa, about the sacrifices she made, about how proud she was to see her daughter marry such a good man. Thomas, she said, her eyes glistening, welcome to our family. We love you, and we promise to take care of you the way Vanessa deserves to be taken care of. Everyone clapped. I waited for Thomas to say something, to acknowledge me, to thank me for everything I had done, everything I had given. But he just smiled and kissed Vanessa's cheek. I drove home that night feeling hollow, like a ghost at my own son's wedding. The next day was the wedding. I woke up early, put on my dress, a soft lavender gown I had bought months ago, and drove to the venue. I was supposed to help Vanessa get ready. That had been the plan. But when I arrived at the bridal suite, the door was closed. I knocked. One of Vanessa's sisters opened it. Oh, hi, Mrs. Callahan. Hi, sweetheart. Is Vanessa ready for me? She glanced over her shoulder. She is actually finishing up with hair and makeup right now. It is kind of crowded in here. Maybe give us another hour? Oh, okay. I smiled. I will just wait in the hall. Actually, you might be more comfortable in the main house. There is coffee and snacks set up. We will come get you when she is ready. The door closed. I stood there for a moment, feeling foolish. Then I walked back down the hallway, my heels clicking on the hardwood floor, and found an empty bench outside. I never got called back to the bridal suite. The first few weeks after the wedding, I chalked up the distance to newlywed bliss. They were busy settling into their life together, adjusting to sharing space, navigating the small negotiations that come with marriage. I told myself to give them room to breathe. I sent a text message to Thomas 3 days after they returned from their honeymoon in Greece. Welcome home, sweetheart. Hope the trip was wonderful. Would love to see photos. Maybe dinner this Sunday? He replied 6 hours later. Hey, Mom, trip was amazing. This Sunday does not work. Vanessa's family is coming over. Maybe next week? Of course. Just let me know. Next week came and went. No invitation. I tried not to feel hurt. I reminded myself that Sunday dinners had been our tradition before Vanessa, and it was natural that things would change now that Thomas had a wife. I needed to be flexible, understanding, modern. But as the weeks turned into months, the silence grew louder. Thomas stopped calling me in the evenings. Our Text exchanges became shorter, less frequent. When I did hear from him, it was usually because I had reached out first. "How are you, honey?" "Good. Busy with work. Want to grab lunch this week?" "I will check with Vanessa and let you know." He never let me know. I started to notice a pattern. Every invitation, every suggestion, every attempt to see my son was met with the same response. "I will check with Vanessa." At first, I thought it was sweet, considerate, a man who respected his wife's schedule and wanted to make plans together. But then I started to wonder, when had my son stopped making decisions on his own? When had every coffee date, every phone call, every moment of his time become something that needed approval? In October, 4 months after the wedding, I called Thomas on his birthday. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. I left a message. "Hi, sweetheart. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I love you. Call me when you get a chance." He texted me back 3 hours later. "Thanks, Mom. Having dinner with Vanessa's family tonight. Talk soon." I stared at that message for a long time. Vanessa's family. On his birthday. Not me. I told myself it was fine. Maybe they had planned it weeks ago. Maybe it was a surprise. Maybe I would be invited next year. But a small voice in the back of my mind whispered, "You paid for his wedding, and you are not even invited to his birthday dinner." I silenced that voice. I did not want to be bitter. I did not want to be that mother. Thanksgiving came. I assumed Thomas and Vanessa would split the day between families, the way many young couples do. I would make my traditional turkey and stuffing. Linda and her family would come over, and we would have a few hours with Thomas before he went to Patricia's house for the evening. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I called him. "Hi, honey. Just planning for Thanksgiving. What time should I expect you and Vanessa?" There was a pause. "Actually, Mom, we are going to Vanessa's mom's this year." My hand tightened on the phone. "Oh, all day?" "Yeah, her whole family is going to be there, and it is kind of a big deal for them. But we will see you for Christmas, okay? What about lunch? You could come here for lunch and then go to Patricia's for dinner?" "Mom, it is just easier to stay in one place. I am sure you understand." I did not understand, but I said, "Of course. Have a wonderful time." After I hung up, I sat on my couch and stared at the photograph on the mantel. Thomas as a little boy, grinning with a missing front tooth, sitting on his father's shoulders. Linda came over that Thanksgiving. She brought her husband and her 2 kids and a store-bought pie. We ate turkey and watched football and pretended everything was fine. But when she was leaving, she hugged me tight and whispered, "Maggie, you need to talk to him. This is not right." "He is just busy," I said. "He is being manipulated," Linda said bluntly, "and you are letting it happen." I did not want to believe her. Christmas was worse. I invited Thomas and Vanessa over for Christmas Eve, our tradition since Thomas was born. We always opened one gift on Christmas Eve, drank hot cocoa, and watched It's a Wonderful Life. It was sacred, untouchable, or so I thought. "We are doing Christmas Eve with Vanessa's family this year," Thomas said when I called. "But we can stop by on Christmas Day for a little bit, maybe around 3. "Christmas Day?" My voice cracked. "Thomas, we always do Christmas Eve together." "I know, Mom, but Vanessa's family does this big thing on Christmas Eve, and it is important to her. We are trying to balance both families. We have not spent a single holiday together since the wedding. I said, and I hated how small my voice sounded. Not Thanksgiving. Not your birthday. Now not Christmas Eve. How is that balance? Silence. Mom, please do not make this harder than it has to be. I am not trying to make anything hard. I just miss my son. I will see you on Christmas Day. I have to go. Vanessa is calling me. He hung up. I held the phone to my chest and cried. Christmas Day? They arrived at 3:15. Vanessa looked exhausted. Thomas looked uncomfortable. Sorry we are late, Vanessa said, not quite meeting my eyes. My family's thing ran long. It is fine. Come in. I made cookies. We sat in the living room. I gave them the gifts I had bought. A cashmere sweater for Thomas, a set of monogrammed towels for Vanessa. They thanked me politely. Vanessa checked her phone twice. At 4 o'clock, Thomas stood up. We should probably get going. Already? I tried to keep my voice light. You just got here. Vanessa is tired. It has been a long day. I walked them to the door, hugged Thomas, told them I loved them. As they walked to the car, I heard Vanessa say something to Thomas. I could not make out the words, but I heard her tone, sharp, impatient. Thomas glanced back at me, and for a second, I saw something in his eyes. Guilt, maybe, or apology. Then they drove away, and I stood on my porch in the cold, watching their taillights disappear. It was Linda who finally forced me to see what I had been avoiding. We were having coffee at my house in early January. She had been watching me carefully, the way she always did when she was worried. Have you talked to Thomas lately? She asked. Not since Christmas. Maggie. She set down her cup. This has been going on for months. He barely speaks to you. He does not visit. He is shutting you out, and you are just accepting it. He is building his own life. That is normal. No. Linda's voice was firm. Normal is calling your mother once a week. Normal is having dinner once a month. Normal is not forgetting you exist. I looked away. I am serious, Maggie. Something is wrong, and I think you know what it is. What do you want me to say? My voice broke. That my daughter-in-law hates me? That she has poisoned my son against me? That I am losing him and I do not know how to stop it? I want you to stop pretending everything is fine, Linda said gently. I want you to fight for your son. How? Start by finding out what is really going on. That night, I did something I am not proud of. I went through my old phone records, the family plan Thomas had been on until he got married. I looked at the call logs from the months before the wedding and compared them to the months after. Before, Thomas called me an average of 12 times per week. After, Thomas called me an average of once every 2 weeks. I looked at text messages. Before the wedding, Thomas initiated conversations with me regularly. After the wedding, 90% of our exchanges started with me reaching out first. The data did not lie. My son had not gradually drifted away. He had been deliberately distanced. But I needed proof. I needed to understand how this had happened. Why? I called Thomas's college roommate, Marcus. He and Thomas had been close since freshman year. If anyone knew what was going on, it would be him. Hey, Mrs. C, Marcus said when he answered. Long time no talk. How are you? I am okay. I was wondering if you have talked to Thomas lately? A pause. Yeah, we grab beers every few weeks. How does he seem to you? Another pause, longer this time. Why do you ask? I am worried about him, Marcus. He does not call me anymore. He barely sees me. I want to make sure he is okay. Marcus sighed. Mrs. C, I do not want to get in the middle of anything. I am not asking you to. I just want to know if my son is happy. Silence. Then, honestly, I do not know. He seems stressed, like he is walking on eggshells. Every time we make plans, he has to check with Vanessa first. And if she says no, he cancels, even if he already committed. My chest tightened. Has he said anything about me? Not directly, but a few months ago, Vanessa made a comment. We were all having dinner, and Thomas mentioned visiting you for your birthday. Vanessa said something like, "Are you sure you want to spend your whole Saturday with your mom? We had plans." And Thomas just backed down. He did not even argue. What else has she said? Mrs. C. Please. He hesitated. She talks about her mom a lot, how close they are, how her mom is like her best friend. She's always saying things like, "My mom would never do that," or, "My mom always says." It is like she is comparing Patricia to you. And Thomas just goes along with it. I felt sick. "I am sorry," Marcus said. I probably should not have said anything. "No, thank you." I needed to hear it. After I hung up, I sat in the dark and let the truth settle over me like a heavy blanket. Vanessa was not just distant. She was deliberate. She was systematically erasing me from my son's life, replacing me with her own mother, making sure Thomas saw Patricia as the central maternal figure while I faded into the background. And Thomas, my kind, thoughtful, loving son, was letting it happen. I decided to try one more time, one honest conversation with my son, face to face, without Vanessa present. I texted him, "Can we have lunch this week? Just the two of us. I miss you." He responded the next day. "Sure. How about Thursday?" We met at a diner near his office. He arrived 10 minutes late, apologizing, distracted. He ordered coffee and a sandwich, checked his phone 3 times before the food arrived. "Thomas," I said carefully, "I wanted to talk to you about something." He looked up. "What is wrong?" "I feel like I have not seen you in months. I feel like we are not as close as we used to be." His face tightened. "Mom, I have been busy. Married life, work, everything. You know how it is." "I do know, but busy does not mean disappearing. We used to talk every day. Now I barely hear from you." "That is not fair." "Is not it?" I kept my voice calm. "Thomas, you have not had dinner at my house since before the wedding. You spent Thanksgiving and Christmas with Vanessa's family. You did not invite me to your birthday. You barely returned my calls. I am trying to balance 2 families, Mom. That is hard." Balance means splitting time equally. What you are doing is giving all your time to Patricia and leaving me with scraps. His jaw clenched. Vanessa is close with her mom. I have to respect that. And I respect it too. But where do I fit in? You fit in. You are my mother. Then act like it, I said, and my voice shook. Act like I matter. He looked away. I do not know what you want from me. I want my son back. For a moment, I thought he might cry. I thought he might reach across the table and hold my hand and admit that something was wrong. That he missed me too. That he was sorry. But then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His face changed. "I have to go," he said. "Vanessa needs me." "Thomas." "I am sorry, Mom. I will call you later." He stood up, threw cash on the table, and left. I sat there alone, staring at his half-eaten sandwich, and felt something inside me harden. Enough. I did not call Thomas after that lunch. I did not text him. I did not reach out. I waited. 2 weeks went by. Silence. 3 weeks. Nothing. A month. Still nothing. My son, who I had raised, loved, sacrificed for, did not even notice my absence. Linda came over one evening in February and found me sitting in Richard's old chair, staring at the wall. "Maggie, you look terrible." "Thank you. I am serious. When is the last time you ate?" I could not remember. She sat down next to me. "What are you going to do?" "I do not know." "You cannot just give up." "What choice do I have?" Thomas made his decision. He chose her, her family, her mother. "He did not choose anything," Linda said sharply. "He is being manipulated. And you are going to sit here and let it happen?" "What do you want me to do? Show up at his house and demand he love me?" "I want you to be strategic, smart. You are not some helpless victim. Maggie, you are a strong woman who has been through hell and survived. So stop wallowing and start thinking." I looked at her. "What do you mean?" She leaned forward. "Vanessa has been controlling the narrative, right? She has been making sure Thomas sees her mother as the perfect, selfless, loving, maternal figure. Meanwhile, you have been pushed aside as the clingy, overbearing mother-in-law." "I have never been clingy." "I know that. You know that. But does Thomas know that? Or has Vanessa been whispering in his ear for months, slowly rewriting your relationship?" I felt a cold clarity settle over me. "You need to show Thomas the truth," Linda said, "not by confronting him or accusing Vanessa. That will only push him further away. You need to let him see it for himself." "How?" She smiled. "You are smarter than I am. You will figure it out." I started paying attention, really paying attention. I followed Vanessa on social media, something I had never bothered with before. I scrolled through her Instagram, her Facebook, looking for clues, and I found them. Every holiday, every special occasion, there were photographs. Vanessa and Patricia at brunch. Vanessa and Thomas at Patricia's house for Sunday dinner. Patricia helping Vanessa decorate their apartment. Patricia and Thomas laughing together at a family barbecue. Not a single photograph included me. It was like I did not exist. But the captions were worse. "So grateful for my second mom." "Patricia, you are my rock." "Family dinner at Mom's house. These are the moments I live for." "Thomas is so lucky to have two moms who adore him." Two moms, as if I had been replaced, upgraded. I kept scrolling. I found a post from Christmas Eve, the one I had not been invited to. The photograph showed Thomas and Vanessa in matching pajamas, surrounded by Patricia's family. The caption read, "Nothing beats the holidays with the people who truly love you." I stared at that sentence for a long time. The people who truly love you. Implication. I was not one of them. I started documenting everything. I made a list of every holiday, every birthday, every family event I had been excluded from. I pulled up bank statements showing the money I had spent on the wedding. I saved screenshots of Vanessa's social media posts. I was not doing this to hurt anyone. I was doing it to protect myself, to show Thomas, when the time came, that I was not imagining things, that this pattern was real. Linda called it my evidence file. "You sound like you are preparing for court," she said. "Maybe I am." In March, I got a call from Patricia. I almost did not answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hello? Maggie, it is Patricia. I hope I am not catching you at a bad time." Her voice was sweet. Too sweet. "No, I am free. What can I do for you?" "Well, I wanted to talk to you about Thomas and Vanessa. I have noticed some tension, and I thought maybe we could clear the air." Tension. as if I were the problem. What kind of tension? I asked carefully. Vanessa mentioned that you have been feeling left out, and I just want you to know that is not intentional. And I just want you to know that is not intentional. We are all just trying to navigate this new family dynamic. Patricia, I have not seen my son in months. I know, and I am sorry about that, but you have to understand, newlyweds need space. They need time to build their own life without feeling pressured by their parents. I am not pressuring anyone. Of course not, but sometimes, without meaning to, parents can be a bit much, especially mothers. We just love our kids so much, right? She laughed lightly. I felt my blood pressure rise. Patricia, I paid for that wedding, $43,000. I have been nothing but supportive, and now I am being told I am too much? Her tone shifted, colder. I think that is part of the problem, Maggie. You gave them money, and now you expect something in return? That is not how love works. I was too stunned to respond. Anyway, she continued, I just wanted to reach out, woman to woman, mother to mother. Maybe if you gave Thomas and Vanessa some space, things would improve. Let them come to you. I have been giving them space for 6 months. Well, maybe give them a little more. She hung up. I sat there, shaking with rage. She was not trying to clear the air. She was warning me, telling me to back off, to stay away. And in that moment, I realized something. This was not just about Vanessa wanting her mother close. This was about Patricia wanting to be the only mother, the primary mother, the important one. And I was in her way. I did not plan what happened next. Sometimes the truth reveals itself without any help. In April, Vanessa got pregnant. Thomas called to tell me. His voice was excited, nervous, happy, more animated than I had heard in months. Mom, we are having a baby. Can you believe it? You are going to be a grandmother. My heart swelled. Oh, Thomas, that is wonderful. Congratulations, sweetheart. We wanted you to be one of the first to know. One of the first, not the first. When is the due date? December, right around Christmas. We talked for a few more minutes. He promised to send me updates, to include me, to make sure I was part of the journey. I wanted to believe him, but history repeated itself. Vanessa's baby shower was planned by Patricia. I was sent an invitation 2 weeks before the event, clearly an afterthought. The registry was already picked clean by the time I saw it. I went anyway. I brought a gift, a handmade quilt I had spent weeks sewing, embroidered with the baby's name. The shower was at Patricia's house. Every room was decorated in soft yellows and whites. Tables overflowed with gifts. Vanessa sat in a throne-like chair, radiant and glowing, while her family and friends surrounded her. I recognized almost no one. I found a seat near the back, watched as Patricia presented Vanessa with gift after gift, each one met with squeals of delight. Watched as Patricia gave a speech about becoming a grandmother, about how proud she was, about how she could not wait to spoil this baby. No one asked me to speak. When it was time to open gifts, Vanessa held up the quilt I had made. "Oh, this is from Thomas's mom," she said, her tone pleasant but distant. "How nice. Thank you, Maggie." She set it aside and moved on to the next present. I left early. No one noticed. The breaking point came in June. Thomas and Vanessa were looking for a new house. Something bigger, with room for the baby. I had offered to help with the down payment. Thomas said he would let me know if they needed it. I found out through Facebook that they had bought a house. Not from my son. From a photograph Vanessa posted. We did it. New house, new chapter, new adventures. So grateful for family who made this possible. I clicked on the comments. Patricia had written, "So proud of you both. I am glad I could help make your dream come true." My hands went numb. I called Thomas immediately. He did not answer. I left a voicemail. "Thomas, I just saw that you bought a house. Congratulations. I wish you had told me. I also saw that Patricia helped you with the down payment. I had offered to help too. Why did not you tell me you needed money?" He called me back an hour later. "Mom, it all happened really fast," Patricia offered, "and we did not want to burden you." "Burden me? Thomas, I am your mother. Helping you is not a burden." "I know, but you already did so much with the wedding, and we just thought—" "You thought what? That Patricia's money is better than mine? That her help matters more? That is not fair." "None of this is fair." My voice broke. "I have been pushed out of your life, Thomas. Systematically, deliberately, and you have let it happen." Silence. "Mom, you are overreacting." "Am I? When is the last time you invited me to dinner? When is the last time you called me just to talk? When is the last time I felt like your mother instead of some obligation you avoid?" "I do not avoid you. You do, and so does Vanessa, and so does Patricia, and I am done pretending it is all in my head." "Mom, I love you, Thomas, but I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep begging for scraps of your time. I cannot keep being erased." I hung up before he could respond. Linda convinced me to write a letter. "Not angry," she said. "Not accusatory, just honest. Tell him how you feel. Give him something he can read when Vanessa is not in his ear." So I wrote. I wrote about the wedding, the money, the holidays I spent alone, the shower, the house, the months of silence. I wrote about how much I loved him, how proud I was of the man he had become, how desperately I wanted to be part of his life. I wrote about Patricia, not with cruelty, but with honesty. I acknowledged that Vanessa was close with her mother, and that was beautiful. But I also pointed out the pattern, the way I had been systematically excluded, the way every milestone had been claimed by Patricia while I watched from the sidelines. I did not accuse Vanessa of being malicious. I simply presented the facts, the dates, the events, the silence. I ended the letter with one question. "Do you even miss me?" I mailed it on a Tuesday. I did not tell Thomas it was coming. He showed up at my door 4 days later. It was raining. He stood on my porch, soaked, holding the letter in his hand. His face was pale. "Can I come in?" he asked quietly. I stepped aside. We sat in the living room, the same room where he had grown up, where Richard used to read him bedtime stories, where we had celebrated every Christmas and birthday and ordinary Sunday. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Finally, Thomas said, "I did not realize." "Realize what?" "How bad it had gotten. How much I have hurt you." His voice cracked. "Mom, I am so sorry." I felt tears prick my eyes, but forced them back. "Tell me the truth, Thomas. Why did this happen?" He looked down at his hands. "Vanessa did not mean to shut you out." "But she did." He nodded slowly. "She is really close with her mom, and I think she assumed that because I had you growing up, and she had Patricia, that now we could just—" combine families. But it did not work that way. Patricia is strong-willed. She takes charge, and I let her, because it was easier than arguing. And me? You were always there, always steady, always understanding. He looked up, his eyes red. I took you for granted, Mom. I thought you would always be there, no matter what, and I stopped making you a priority. You did. I am sorry. His voice broke completely. I am so sorry. I reached over and took his hand. I love you, Thomas. But love is not enough if it is one-sided. I need you to fight for me. I need you to make space for me in your life. Not as an afterthought. Not as someone you squeeze in when Vanessa allows it. But as your mother. As someone who matters. You do matter. Then show me. He nodded, wiping his eyes. I will. I promise. I will fix this. Thomas and I met for coffee the following week. This time, he was on time. This time, he did not check his phone. I talked to Vanessa, he said. My stomach tightened. And? It was hard. She did not see it at first. She thought I was attacking her mom. But I showed her your letter. I showed her the list you made of all the holidays and events. And I think she finally understood. Understood what? That she was doing to you what her dad's new wife did to her mom. Pushing you out. Replacing you. I had not known that detail. But it made sense. Patricia's defensiveness, Vanessa's clinginess, they were reacting to old wounds, not seeing the new ones they were creating. How did she take it? I asked. She cried. She said she did not mean to hurt you. She just did not think about it. Her mom has always been her whole world. And when we got married, she wanted Patricia to be part of everything. She did not realize that meant leaving you out. And Patricia. Thomas sighed. That is going to be harder. Patricia does not think she did anything wrong. She thinks she was just being a good mother. At the expense of me? Yes. We sat in silence for a moment. So what now? I asked. Now we rebuild, Thomas said. We set boundaries. We make sure both families are included. We do not let one person control all the holidays and decisions. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. And I make sure my mom knows she is loved. Tears slipped down my cheeks. That is all I ever wanted. The changes were slow, but they were real. Thomas started calling me every Sunday evening. We talked about everything: work, the baby, memories, plans. Sometimes Vanessa joined the call. Sometimes it was just us. He invited me to their new house, gave me a tour, asked my opinion on paint colors and furniture. Let me help set up the nursery. In July, we had dinner at my house. Thomas, Vanessa, Linda, and Linda's family. It was the first time in over a year that my home felt full again. Vanessa was quiet at first, awkward, but as the evening went on, she relaxed. She asked me about recipes, about Thomas as a child, about Richard. I am sorry, she said, as she helped me clear dishes. For shutting you out. I did not see it, but I see it now. Thank you, I said. My mom is upset with me, she admitted. She thinks I am choosing you over her. You are not choosing anyone. You are making room for everyone. She nodded, tears glistening. I hope she understands that eventually. She will, or she will not. But that is not your responsibility to fix. In September, we celebrated my birthday. Thomas and Vanessa took me to dinner, a nice restaurant downtown. They gave me a gift, a framed photograph of the three of us from the wedding day, along with a handwritten note. To the best mother and grandmother we could ask for. Thank you for your patience, your love, and your grace. We are sorry for the pain we caused. We promise to do better. With love, Thomas and Vanessa. I cried in the restaurant, happy tears this time. Patricia did not come around easily. There were tense moments, holidays where she made passive-aggressive comments, events where she tried to monopolize Thomas's time. But Thomas held firm. He set boundaries. He made sure I was included. At Thanksgiving, we split the day. Lunch at my house, dinner at Patricia's. It was not perfect, but it was fair. At Christmas, Thomas and Vanessa hosted. Both families came. Patricia and I were cordial, polite, distant. We would never be friends, but we did not need to be. The baby, a girl named Clara, was born on December 20th. I was at the hospital, not in the delivery room, but in the waiting area, right alongside Patricia. When Thomas brought Clara out to meet us, he placed her in my arms first. "Mom," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Meet your granddaughter." I looked down at that tiny, perfect face and felt a peace I had not felt in years. I was not erased. I was still here. It has been 6 months since Clara was born. 6 months of slow, steady healing. Thomas and I are not back to where we were before Vanessa, and maybe we never will be. But we are in a new place now, a place built on honesty, boundaries, and mutual respect. I see Clara twice a week. I babysit while Thomas and Vanessa go on date nights. I sing her the same lullabies I sang to Thomas. I watch her sleep and thank God I did not give up. Vanessa and I are still finding our rhythm. Some days are easier than others, but we are trying, and that is what matters. Patricia and I maintain a careful distance. We are polite at family gatherings. We do not compete. We coexist. And maybe, in time, that will be enough. I learned something through all of this. I learned that love is not passive. Love requires action, boundaries, honesty. It requires showing up even when it is hard, even when it hurts. I learned that being a good mother does not mean being silent. It does not mean accepting crumbs. It does not mean letting yourself be erased. I also learned that people can change, that relationships can heal, that grace and forgiveness are not the same as letting yourself be walked over. Thomas is a good man. He made mistakes. He let fear and comfort guide him instead of courage and truth. But when confronted with the reality of what he had done, he chose to change. He chose me. And that is what saved us. I think about the wedding sometimes, about standing in the back of that reception hall, watching my son dance with someone else's mother, feeling invisible. I think about the $43,000. The money I gave freely, with love, expecting nothing in return except to remain part of my son's life. I do not regret giving that money. I regret that it took me so long to realize I deserved more than being forgotten. If you are going through something similar, if you feel erased, pushed aside, replaced, I want you to know you are not imagining it. You are not overreacting. You are not being difficult. You are allowed to take up space in your child's life. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to say, "This is not okay." And if they love you, truly love you, they will listen. It will not be easy. It will not be fast. But it is worth fighting for, because you matter. Your presence matters. Your love matters. And you deserve to be seen. So I ask you, from one mother to another, from one person to another, have you ever felt erased by someone you love? Have you ever had to fight to be seen? And if you have, what did you do? Did you walk away? Did you stay and fight? Did you find a way to rebuild? I would love to hear your story. Leave a comment below. Let us support each other, because none of us should have to face this kind of pain alone. And if my story helped you in any way, if it gave you courage or clarity, or just the comfort of knowing you are not alone, please share it. Subscribe. Pass it along to someone who might need to hear it. Because the truth is, we are all just trying to love and be loved. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. You matter always.